All right. So, the Acolyte episode 2. Um, was it my imagination or was this a shorter episode? I think it was a shorter episode. So, we start off with Osha riding along with the rest of the Scooby gang, trying to figure out their next move as to where May is gone, what they're going to do as they're going back to Coruscant. Well, oh shoot. I've already forgotten names from watching this just a few hours ago. I suck. Okay, so Yord is being a complete jerk. I mean, apparently these two were friends. And Osha helped Jackie with some problems that she was having at a panel. And that's when she told her she was a mechanic. And apparently that's super dangerous work, which is why droids usually do it. And then Yord comes in being an absolute jerk because Soul, he's talking to Master Soul, saying how, why is the prisoner free to roam the ship? I mean, dude, did you not get a clue? She is not the one you're after. And he immediately assumes that they must be in on it together. Now, granted, that's not completely out of the question. I mean, they're twins. If they have a relationship with each other, it would make sense that they could have been. I mean, she left the order 6 years ago. So maybe that's why he's being an absolute jerk towards her. He probably feels slighted. Like, how dare you leave the order? Which, that's not cult-like behavior at all. So he thinks that they could be in on it together. And it's possible that May could possibly sway Osha to her side. Or maybe Osha will sway May. We don't know. I mean, up until the end of last episode, Osha didn't even know May was alive. Which is why Yord's theory doesn't hold water, because unless Osha is a super good actress, which we've seen what she went through, that's not it. She didn't know May was alive, so how would she be in on it? So Saul is has words of wisdom. He's the adult in the room. And he says, nope, Osha's coming with us. It's fine. And then as they're going, Vernestra calms them and tells them that basically Osha is exonerated because there was another attack, which we saw, an attempt at attack. May tried to get to Master Torben and failed miserably because as he was meditating, he had this force field around him that she couldn't penetrate. So yeah, last episode was a kick-ass, cool fight scene, and this was pure comedy. And so that's how Osha is exonerated, because she's with them and May tried to attack. So obviously it's not Osha. Now, whether Yord has finally gotten the stick out of his ass, probably not. but at least he's not openly hostile to her. So they have to go to Olmec? Is that the name of the planet? Anyway, Olmecchia, I think. Anyway, so yes, I'm horrible with these new names. So, so they go, and Master Soul wants to speak with Master Torben, and he's told, well, you can't talk to him because he hasn't spoken to anyone in 10 years. So I guess he's been in his bubble the entire time. Maybe eating, sleeping, drinking. Jedi don't have to do that while they're in meditation, because what has he been doing? Just meditating straight for these past 10 years? Which makes you wonder why. But we get kind of a clue, because May, in the meantime, had gone back to her home planet, Braddock, I think it is, and talked with Zamir, and he apparently took over the apothecary, which we didn't realize it was an apothecary until later, but he took over the apothecary, and he's helping May. And May tells him that she can't get to Torben because there's a force field around him, and that all he does is meditate. So Zamir is mocking him, mocking the Jedi, that this is their version of peace, but is it really peace? And that Torben, probably needs what you have to give him because of something that happened in his past, which we do not know, but I'm thinking it has something to do with what happened to May, Osha, and the rest of their village, because why else is May so mad at the Jedi? So Zamir gives her this poison, and so she is in the temple. She's going to deliver it, but Osha sees a vision of her younger self going into the back way into the chamber, which, how that happens, it's Jedi stuff, so it's Force stuff, so I'm not going to question how that works. But she follows it, and Yord, because he doesn't trust Osha as far as he can throw her yet, follows, which turned out to be a great thing for her, because immediately she's accused of killing Master Torben. And that's because she's over his body. She closes his eyes, which, dude, you know that a woman who looks just like you just murdered him. Why are you lingering? But, so she's holding the vial that held the poison, which, again, not the smartest thing. But since they don't have things like fingerprinting, I guess it's not that big of a deal. So anyway, Yord comes to her rescue and basically says she didn't do it. He was dead when they got here. That he was following Osha when she veered off. Now, why one door was closed and supposedly locked, while the other door was wide open, Not a clue, because that doesn't give you any security. But whatever. I mean, obviously May didn't go that way. She went up. But still. So she basically told Torben, I know that you're haunted by by something that happened in your past. I know what that event is. I can help you. And so she gives him something. Now, given that he's been spending 10 years meditating, you would think that he would, like Master Soul did later, enter her mind super duper easy and find out this is a freaking poison, don't take it. Or maybe he wanted to die. Maybe, this was euthanasia. We don't know. Because he never talked about it, so who knows? Maybe he wanted to die. Maybe she gave him what he wanted. But anyway, we don't know what is this issue, but considering what happened to her, what happened to her village, I'm wondering if it has something to do with that. And that we find out later that there were 4 Jedi assigned to their home planet, which were Indira, Torben, Sol, and Kilnaka. I had it. I swear I had it. Where are you? What? Anyway. Doesn't want to give it to me, but I think it's Kalnaka. So they decide, well, this cinches it. Osha is exonerated completely and utterly now. So they go back on their ship and they decide that they're going to go back to Osha's home planet because the poison is specific to that planet. And so they go to that planet, and that's when they find out that something happened to the pharmacist, the apothecary, on this planet because Zamir took over. And they're like, yeah, this new guy just came in and took over. And so Yord comes up with this convoluted plan of how to get the information. And Jackie's like, we have a lookalike right here. Just send her. Now, granted, Osha did the absolute worst job imaginable in dealing with it. I mean, granted, she got Zamir to admit that he gave May the poison. But she didn't say anything else. I mean, her bluff game couldn't be worse. It was horrible. I mean, she didn't try to keep him talking. She didn't try to suss out who they're working for. She did none of that. She just stood there awkwardly. It was just so painful to watch. I'm like, oh my God, Osha. I mean, I could get it if you were with the Jedi Order this past 16 years. But the fact that you've been living amongst regular people, you'd think she would at least be somewhat able to bluff. But no, she completely sucked at it. Didn't even try, actually. And so Zamir comes up to her and says, "You look just like her." So he obviously knows she's not May. And so then everybody runs out and basically saves her from whatever Zamir was going to do, which God knows. I mean, is Zamir capable of fighting, or can he only do that with poisons and other potions? Who knows? But so they basically strike a deal with Zamir that Zamir strikes a deal with them saying that May is coming back tonight. And, you can just wait for her. I mean, granted, he was trying to save his own bacon, but. And, so they wait, and they're waiting, and thinking that maybe Zamir just was blowing smoke because nothing's happening. And then May comes, and Sol wants to confront her. And Osha is freaking out because Zamir told them that she wants revenge against 4 Jedi. So the only 2 that are still alive are Sol and Kelnaka, the Wookiee Jedi. And so she's worried that May is going to kill Sol. And Sol is basically like, "Oh, ye of little faith." And then May tries to take down Sol and fails miserably. So she manages to escape. And Osha knows what's going on because she finagled Pip so she could listen in on the conversations between Yord and Jackie. Obviously, Master Sol isn't a part of that. He's too busy fighting May. Or maybe, I'm not sure if she could hear them or not. I'm unclear on that. But he asks May, where, who trained you? Who is your master? And then he manages to get into her head, which, by the way, the fight was awesome. And he manages to get into her head, and he's like, "Oh, you can't tell me who your master is because you don't even know either." And my first response is, well, for the show, that's great because then it's also a mystery to the end to find out who it is who's causing all this mayhem. But in universe, who the hell takes on a master they don't know their identity? Seriously, aren't you even remotely curious as to who is doing this? Not curious at all. Your thirst for revenge is so strong that you just do not care who this person is. I mean, you don't know. They might, once you exact your revenge, they might decide you're past your usefulness and off you. How do you know if you don't know who this person is? So yes, out of universe for us watching, that's a great way to keep the mystery going. In universe, sucky reason, because what the hell? And so she manages to escape. She gets hit by a cruiser and then feigns, I guess, injury to then basically carjack. And as she's doing that, Osha spots her and lifts her gun at her. And May looks at her and sees Oshi. So now she knows Osha is alive because she told Zimmy, because she thought that she told Sol, she told Yord that, and Jackie, that Osha is dead. So what the hell happened that Sol saw May die, but May thinks that Osha died? What is happening? Something really weird happened on that planet. And I'm wondering if whatever that weird thing is, May blames the Jedi for. Now, was she manipulated by whoever her master is? Another reason why you don't just, take a master from someone who you have no idea who they are. Because it could very well be that you're being manipulated. But we won't know because we don't know who we're serving. So she sees Osha, and because obviously she did not believe those three, even though it took her aback a bit. But no, she was steadfast until she saw Osha. But she kept going, and Osha, for her part, shot at her, but I don't think she actually meant to hit her. Because I'm sure, because you could see she was shaking. Obviously, she doesn't want to kill her sister, even though she did horrible things. But at the same time, she did want to stop her, which she did horribly as well. So Osha is not impressing me right now. May seems like sort of a badass, but Osha, not impressed at all. The only thing that she has going for her is her visions of May. And, so they get back onto the ship, and Vernestra wants them to come have a meeting of the council. And he's like, but we know where she's going. Going to Kofar to find Kelnaka. Because what is his name again? What the hell? Why am I so bad with his name? Jimir told her, he told her where to find Kelnaka. And so obviously that's where she's going. But she's insistent that they come back. Now, if Master Soul was, smart, rebellious, whatever you want to say, he'll ignore that and just go to Kofar to protect Kelnaka. Now, Kelnaka, well, because he's a Wookiee, does have a bit of an advantage because, well, he's a Wookiee. And there were these two interlopers from another planet. I don't know if they were lost or they were looking for something in Kelnaka's abode, but they took one look at Kelnaka and decided, yeah, we're just going to run now. We're just going to, yeah. So that's how this episode ends. So obviously, rest in peace, Kelnaka, because I get the feeling that the only surviving Jedi of the four is going to be Master Soul, because she already took him on and lost. I mean, granted, he had a little bit of help from Yord, but for the most part, it was Master Soul just wiping the floor up with her. And, possibly if she was able to do what she did to Indara, that he would have to choose between protecting himself and protecting others, she could have done that, but he already disarmed her, for the most part. So, but she did try, and like I said, Yord stopped her. So that was the other thing that Soul had in his favor that Indara did not. She was alone. I mean, she did mention that there was um there was a stranger amongst them, a strange person utilizing the Force, but nobody came. It's like, where were these people? How long does it take you to get there? So yeah. Next episode is definitely going to be all about May taking out Kalnaka, because I'm sure Soul is going to be the good little boy and go back and talk with the council, even though we saw on Ahsoka, and obviously because they have one little hologram, they could easily have an entire council. They could have a council meeting while he's on his way to Kofar. He does not have to go back to Coruscant for that. It's just... But, they have to give May plenty of time to kill Kelnaka. So, yeah. And, but yes, so we still have the mystery of who her master is. We have the mystery of why she wants to kill these 4 Jedi. We know that they were stationed on their home planet. They were probably there when the fire broke out. So my theory right now, my guess, is that she blames them for the fire, and she's not stopping. At first I thought that she blamed them for the death of her sister because she obviously thought Osha was dead. But even after finding out that Osha is still alive, she still wants to kill Kalnaka. And obviously Zamir works for the same master that May does. So my working theory is that she blames them for the fire. And considering they were 10? Actually, no. 16 years. So, yeah, she was 10. Oh, no, wait. She was 10 when she left the order. I think they said that they were 8 when the fire broke out. So, that's a lot of time to have bullshit fed into your head. But, again, she'd have to want revenge beforehand. And someone is just manipulating her desire for revenge. So maybe these 4 had something to do with the fire. Now, she kept wanting Jedi to attack her. First Indira, which got a laugh because Indira was just sitting there looking at her like she had 2 heads. And then same thing with Master Torben. And she's talking to him like he can hear her. It's like, dude, he's meditating. He's probably not listening. Especially since he's got shields up. But she just kept talking about, do you remember me? So, she was never trained to be a Jedi. It was just Osha. Soul even said that if he could, he would have taken both girls. So, is she mad that they did something to start the fire by accident and she thought it was an attack? Because she seems convinced that Jedi attack for no reason. Or maybe she blames them for that's what I thought at first, that she blames them for Ocha's death. Or maybe she's upset that they took Osha with her. Or that they took Osha with her, but that was before I found out she thought her sister was dead. So, yeah, I have no idea. But my leading theory is that she blames them for the fire. Now, We don't know yet how the fire started. Nobody has told us anything about that night, just that there was a fire, and May and her mother and all the villagers perished. But obviously May is still alive, so God knows how many of the villagers are still alive. But we don't know how the fire started. Nobody has said how the fire started. And since this show is supposed to show us how the Jedi aren't that, honorable, aren't, what they claim to be, makes me wonder if one or all of them had something to do with the fire. Maybe not intentionally, but they might have started something. And my leading theory is Torben. That Torben did something to start the fire. And the reason I think it was Torben is because he was willing to take the poison. Now, again, we don't know if he knew it was poison. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But apparently he agreed with May that something was haunting him. So I don't know if it's because he started the fire or they couldn't save the villagers or what it is. But he was willing to accept that he's carrying a heavy burden. So, that's probably all I have for this episode. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video.